All right, there we are. Okay, well, thank you. There was a little bit of technical difficulties there, but nobody saw it. So, hey guys, it's Ray here, the gray-haired guy in a gi, who's now officially on Spotify, which is good, but I got like 12 followers, so that's okay. That's all right. And this is episode 29, and it's an honor for me to have Melyssa Hunt here, and she's got so much things I want to ask her, and I'm so looking forward to this conversation. You got some water, you got some coffee or tea, you're all
I've,
good?
I've got my water. Yeah, I'm good to go.
All right. Well, how are you?
I'm very well. How about you?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. I mean, we haven't spoken many, many years,
Been a
but
few years. Yeah,
and sorry about the confusion. I was all mixed up because I thought it was last Tuesday, so that's
that's
my own
easy.
problem. I'm on vacation for 2 weeks, so one day
Oh, you're
break.
living the good life.
Yeah. So I like to keep you maybe an hour if you have an hour,
hmm
and kind of just I get different chapters. But I guess first I'd like to ask, what right at this moment, real quick, what are you doing now as far as Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu? Let's talk about what's current for you, if you don't
Okay, what's
mind, and then
current
we'll
for me?
backtrack.
Um, I'm still training. I train regularly.
Yeah.
Training is has reduced over the years, so I train 3 to 4 days a week right now, which
Okay.
I think for me personally is kind of the minimum. I train a lot of no gi. I transitioned to mostly no gi
Interesting.
a while back. Yeah. A bit of a story behind that, but nothing
Sure.
nothing interesting really.
That's okay. That's all right. Might be a question I'll ask you in a bit.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, still training, still loving jujitsu. I've watched, as we have when we're in it this long, have watched several different stages of jujitsu around the Maritimes through the
Perfect.
years. But yeah, still training and still having fun, doing a lot
Okay,
of
because
coaching, but not so much management of the club anymore.
okay, so obviously some people will know who you are, some people may not, but obviously you're a student, then an instructor, a competitor, a school owner, and now you're doing your own thing. So, as
Mhm.
always, when did you get started and how did that go? Were you like a kung fu lady at first or doing some karate or something, or you just decided to get involved with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu?
Yeah, I just decided to get involved, and I can't really remember what it was about, somewhere around 18, 19, 20 years ago, somewhere in that range.
Sure.
Around 19-ish years ago, I guess. I got involved because of my kids. My kids are grown-up men now, but my oldest wanted to join jiu-jitsu in the Annapolis Valley, Nova Scotia,
Yep.
and I was curious about just what it was all about. So after he had been in it for quite a while, I decided to give it a try. And then I just stuck with it. I loved it right away. I loved jujitsu right away.
That's
So,
awesome.
yeah, never
And
looked
so
back.
now where were you training at? Because obviously back then, the only place we remember that was in the Valley, Annapolis Royal, was Abaya, and I believe that's
Abaya.
where you were at.
Yep, that's where I started.
Awesome, awesome. And
Yeah,
who
it
was
was
running
a
it at the time?
different owner back then. It was Rowan Cunningham and
Yep,
Patrick Bazinet were running it at the time.
right. So
And
I
so
think
they would have
Roan
been my,
was the original person, I believe, that started.
yeah, yeah, and Patrick was involved, and then John Foster took over. So
Yep,
yeah, I was there through all of that transition time. And
yep.
then ended up moving here to Fredericton, so things
Sure.
changed. But
Yeah.
yeah,
So are you from here originally? Are you from Nova Scotia originally?
I am. I'm from the Annapolis Valley. I'm
Oh,
from
wonderful.
yeah, yeah, born and raised, and
Okay.
moved here 14 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah,
Whereabouts, like roughly? Not that you
in
have
the
to tell
valley.
me you lived. Yeah, like obviously Kentville, Berwick, and New
I'm
Minas.
from just north of Berwick. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Berwick's a nice little town. I've been in
It's
there
a
many
tiny
times
little
for
town, but it
work.
is
So
sweet.
it is nice.
Yeah.
I have to head down that way for another drive and visit it soon. But so anyway, your children were involved in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and then you just decided you wanted to give it a try as well.
I did. I really think like children are like having kids programs is really important, and I think like having I've throughout the years I've had a big focus on developing and maintaining youth programs. So actually, I think that's kind of a great reason to start. One of the best reasons to start.
Yep,
Yeah.
absolutely. Now, back then, we know through history. our small history of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu in the province in Atlantic, Canada, there wasn't a lot of ladies training back then. Did you have any ladies training in your class or?
Yeah, actually I did. There was
Nice.
a lady, a woman named Babs who was she was already a blue belt. So she was a huge inspiration for
Wow.
me. And she continued for a little while after I started. I think she had retired by the time I was a blue belt, but
Right.
she was a huge inspiration. She was also a small woman like myself, so being a small person on the mats comes with its own set of challenges. So
Yeah.
she really inspired me as like if she can do it, I can do it. So that's always nice. There was another woman at my club. Her name is also Melissa, and she would have been my main training partner. So
Okay.
she and I just adored her, and we were kind of in it together in the beginning. And she kind of veered off more towards boxing, kickboxing, and I veered more towards jujitsu.
Right.
So that was fun. And then of course the whole crew in Halifax. So every once in a while I would come down and train down there. And so it made this core group of women even in the early days.
Yeah, there's such history there because as we know in the early days, it kind of feels weird to say that, but it is
Yeah.
true now, thinking that I should know off the top of my head because I keep track of how many black belts there is in Nova Scotia. I think
hmm
we have 128 or 29 black belts. I could be wrong on that. I have a list, so nobody
That's
say no, there's anyway, but of course back then when you were training, there was very, very few.
very
And
few.
very few ladies training at all. I mean, you had a couple, I know at Bushido Kai, we had Courtney Pratt and a bunch of others training. And I'm trying to think about where else. Titans probably had a few.
Titans had, yeah, Sally Arsenault would have been
Oh,
training at
yes.
Titans,
Yeah. Another
who she's,
pioneer.
yeah, another pioneer. And so I loved training with Sally and Courtney and the whole crew. Yeah, it was always a really good time.
Yeah. And it's funny to think back then, like obviously, Truro, like Cape Breton way, there wasn't much. I think Kemp Peters was one of the first to start Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu up in Cape Breton, and now there's black belts up there, and it's just amazing to see. So, what
It's
was
kind of
training like?
crazy.
Sorry, you go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say it's kind of crazy to see the evolution of it to have like when we started, when way back then, it seems like a lifetime ago. But yeah, just having very few higher belts and just an entirely different scene really than what it has evolved to now.
That is true, and we always look forward to the Abaya Invitational tournament that they put on.
Yeah,
That was always kind of the biggest one at the time. I mean, there
it
was a
was
few
at the
little ones
time.
around, but so what was
Yeah.
training like back then? Were you training all the time? Like, did you have time to invest in all the time training, or
I did. I did train a lot in the early days. I think I trained probably five days a week, sometimes six, sometimes multiple times per day, through white and blue belt, maybe even some of purple belt. Yeah, I trained a lot.
right?
And my kids were little, so it seemed easy. I could just pack them up some toys and some snacks, and away we'd go. And they'd hang out. They'd have their class maybe if there was a youth class, and then so yeah, it was just a whole lifestyle. And
Right.
I mean, obviously, age has a part of it, and just different goals, and so training has changed many times throughout the years. But that's one of the things that I find, people ask about. They ask other people, they ask their peers, and it's important. I think it's very important not to compare your journey to other people's. And if you can get on the
Right.
mats twice a week, and that's all you can do because of your lifestyle or your job or whatever, I think that's really important to just stick with it anyways. Like your teammate maybe can show up 5 or 6 days a week, but that's okay. It doesn't have to be a comparison or a problem just because you can't get there as much. I
Right.
think everybody's journey will go through several phases by the time they're
Yeah,
all
you
said
know
and
what?
done.
It definitely does. There's no question about that. Your training, your attitude, the way you look at things
hmm
changes every so many years too, especially. And as you get a little bit older, maybe you get an injury or something like that. Were you doing other things as well when you were at a bike? Like, did you get involved with like kickboxing or boxing or
Never really
MMA?
much of a boxer, no. That
Okay,
wasn't
good.
never really into that part. I didn't like that. I have a hard time with the striking. It's just my brain's not built for it. But
Yeah.
the puzzle of jujitsu, I find that really fascinating. Um, so yeah, that was pretty much it. I dabbled in Taekwondo when I was a kid, but
Right.
Yeah, jiu-jitsu's really been like my main one.
Sure. Now, at some point, you were training at Abaya, and you didn't train anywhere else in Nova Scotia. That was your main school, and then you'd end up moving to New Brunswick.
I did. I went and spent some time in Brazil. Um,
Oh, tell me all about that. What was that like now? Like,
it
seriously,
was
where
it
did you
was very
go? What
cool.
did you do?
Oh my goodness. So in 2011, I went, and I had the idea to go, but it was because some of my teammates had gone. So some of my teammates from Abaya, and they had gone down and had a great time. They had great things to say about it. There was a hostel at the time called Connection Rio, and the hostel was this. They just facilitated jiu-jitsu vacations. It was like,
Wow.
rustic accommodations. You were in a bunk
Yeah,
with everybody else, but it was right down the road from an academy, so you could it made it really easy. So I was inspired by them to go down. So I went down for, oh, I don't know, a couple weeks in 2011 and
yeah,
had a great time. So I ended up going back the following year. I found that training there was just spectacular and had a really, everybody was super welcoming. I went to a lot of different clubs, so it wasn't always the same vibe. There was some clubs that were more welcoming than others,
right.
but that's
Now,
something that I encourage. I'm strongly encourage everybody to go train at other academies. I think it's a valuable experience. I think you get a lot out
absolutely.
of it. So that's always been something that it's really important to me.
So, what
So
did you find different when you went to Brazil? Did you remember where you trained at, like some of the names of the schools or people or anything?
yeah, the main school I trained at was Gordo's. Gordo is, if you know, if people, somebody doesn't know, Gordo is credited with the as the inventor of half guard. So
Oh,
he's a big deal. He's a big name in the jiu-jitsu world.
okay.
So I trained there and actually got my purple belt under him. So
Wow. There
we,
in Brazil.
yep,
Oh, that's awesome. That's
yeah, I
amazing.
trained there for quite a while and ended up earning that belt from him, which was an honor.
Absolutely.
And so, yeah, his little brother, Gordinho, who has since moved to the United States to open schools, they were the head instructors there, and along with another fella, a bigger black belt named Weber, who didn't speak any English. So he was an entertaining fella.
Did you
So I
find
think
training? Sorry, go ahead.
just the biggest difference was like it was the level. I remember walking into that club for the first time and seeing 10 black belts on the mats you know, and obviously in Nova Scotia we didn't really have that. So
Right. Did
it
you find
was
the level, obviously, then the level of training was much more intense and, I would say harder. And did you find it more challenging, obviously?
I found it challenging, but they were also very helpful. So that
Okay.
particular school that I was like would have been my main academy that I trained with, they were used to foreigners coming. That was
Oh,
one of
okay.
the things that they offered. But going to some of the other schools, I don't know if you remember back in the day, like there was a time when jiu-jitsu was like you kept your secrets to yourself. We didn't
Yeah,
have we the internet was a thing, but it wasn't techniques weren't shared on the
exactly.
internet as widely as they are now. Like now we have Instagram and TikTok and YouTube shorts and BJJ fanatics and you can go find whatever information you want. But back then schools would kind of hold their secrets, hold their cards close. So some schools didn't want you coming to train and learning their secrets.
Right.
Yeah.
I'll
A
take a little
different
detour then because that was
yeah.
a question I was going to ask you later on, but I'll ask you now. How do you feel like learning has changed so much? Obviously, back in the day, whatever time it was, there was no internet. People learned from books and magazines and seminars. And then all of a sudden, a little bit of the internet started coming out, and you could get VHS tapes,
Yeah.
Gracie in Action or Henzo Gracie instructionals. And do you think it's hurt now that you can, like you said, you can get anything, you can learn the next move today, right away on Instagram, YouTube, whatever? Do you find it's worse? It's harmful? It's better? Like, what's your thoughts?
Well, I don't think it's harmful. I
Okay.
think it's different. I think it's very like I'm gonna say back in the day, like when in that era, you learn from your coach. It was very much about the coach passes on this information, and
Yes.
the coach was like the coach is the guy. Like everybody looks up to the coach, and there was a bit, um, you know, the stature that came with having a higher belt was it meant a lot, and it still means a lot. I don't mean to
Sure.
think that, but like you can learn so much from in so many other ways. It's just different. I don't know. I like it. If I'm gonna be honest, I love that there's information available to everybody. I
Oh
love
yeah, I agree.
I love that as a coach, I can go in and I think the coach's job has changed from passing on the information to just facilitating the class. Like we are going to structure, we're going to have a warm up together as a group and we're going to set aside this time to practice technique. And it could be what I'm teaching or whoever's coaching the class, but it could be something that you're working on that you saw on an instructional that you bought. So I kind of like that. Everybody has the freedom to explore their own style of jujitsu.
Yeah, that is very true. And it's so kind of funny because that's the same thing for all the different martial arts now. Like if you were learning karate, you can go online and learn karate, different techniques, Aikido or Kung Fu or Judo, whatever, and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu just happened to come around at the right time because social media was just starting to get going when
Yeah.
BJJ was just starting to get going. And I think that's
Yeah.
really what also, besides the UFC and all that stuff, but really that's kind of what blew it up.
Yep.
And it's just great. It's just, and like you said, you see so many things on Instagram. Now sometimes you see things and you go to your coach and you're like, what's this crazy move? And they're like, ah, don't be learning that
Don't
stuff.
look at that. Well, that's the thing, and but that I think one of the great things about that is that you can filter that yourself. You can look at it and be like, "That's cool," and it's either going to work or it's not. I like the ones that you see, and you also see a high level competitor use it in a competition. If you're like, if you see something and you've seen somebody use it in a like a competition setting,
Right.
it's probably more legit. And then you can go try it in your home club. You're probably missing a few key details versus if you actually got taught that technique,
Yep.
but you can probably sort through it and see if it's legit or needs to be thrown out.
Now, people, what do you think of people who just train online and they get their belts in the mail? And
Hmm.
that doesn't mean that could be any martial art because they all do it. Even
They all
BJJ
do
does
it.
it.
I mean, I guess
You can give
I
your
guess
honest
my
opinion. I
opinion
had
would be
mine
that
too.
my opinion would be that you have to roll.
Yeah, exactly.
My opinion, like you can learn techniques and you can learn by drilling and doing positionals and all kinds of things, but you got to roll to see if you can actually make
Exactly.
that move. If you can actually execute that move against resistance,
Yeah.
against somebody who's trying to do moves back to you.
Exactly. That is so true. And that goes true for a lot of different martial arts, especially arts that do sparring. Some
Hmm.
styles of karate fight a lot, Taekwondo, they fight a lot, Muay Thai, Judo, and you got to do resistance.
Yeah.
And yeah. So getting back to your Brazil trip, um, when you came back from Brazil, you came back to your club in Nova Scotia.
Hmm.
Did you just have a new sense of like, oh, I learned all this information. I need to dive more into this?
Ah, I how did that work? I can't forget
That's
the
okay.
timeline. When I moved back from the second trip to Brazil, when I came back from that trip, we immediately moved to New Brunswick.
Okay.
So I was coming off of a trip where I got all this new knowledge and new training and a purple belt, and then I moved to this. So I was also getting used to a new club. I was also
Right.
meeting new people and my new teammates and kind of starting fresh. So it was a bit of a wild time trying
Sure.
to sort through that. And I trained with that club as a student all the way until brown belts, and then I took over that same club. So I evolved from being the new person there to being a teammate to being in management, all within a kind of a short time.
Well, that just again, that's a whole different chapter. So let's
Yeah.
jump right into that. That's what I like because I don't have a schedule. I'm just coming off the
We're just
top of my
swinging it.
head.
Okay.
But because I mean, I've ran a school for many years, and we could actually do a whole podcast on the good and the bad about running a school.
Oh, running a school. Well, I haven't been in about a year and a half, and I
I know,
have
but
to
you still
say,
have the knowledge,
I
right?
do have the knowledge, but I do have to, I prefer just being a coach. It's quite nice to just
Right.
be a coach, be a student myself. Um,
So
it's,
you were
it's,
training you left Nova Scotia, you went to New
yep.
Brunswick, you were training
Mhm.
there in another school, and then you just decided the opportunity presented itself, like to take
Yep.
over or run the school and
Yeah, the owner of the time needed to step back to do some other things, pursue some
Sure.
other things. So I stepped into that role. Um, and was yeah, I was about 9 years of running that
Yeah.
academy before I was like, you know what, this is a little too much for me. So
Sure. Of course. Oh, yeah. No, no, no. I understand that. And I mean, wow, when you take over or when you start stepping into the role now as a coach, as an owner, you got to pay the rent, the bills, get students, all that other stuff. I mean, that's a lot of weight on your shoulders. And I could be wrong on this, but I don't think there was any ladies anywhere running a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu school in Atlanta, Canada.
at the time, I don't think there was.
Yeah.
There are now.
Yes, of course, which is
We
amazing.
have, yeah, it is amazing. We have a whole, like, quite an amazing crew of women in the East Coast. We really do.
Yes.
So, at the time, no women. So I did have, I mean, I'll be the first to admit that I had a lot, I felt like I had a lot to prove. And that probably steered some of my decisions in ways, I would probably make different decisions now
Oh,
running
yeah,
that
of
place.
course. I
But
understand that completely.
yeah,
Been
at the
there, been
time,
there.
yeah, you're like, I have something to prove. And
Yeah,
I'm,
no, no,
you
I
know,
understand that.
and it can cloud your judgment a little bit, but I learned a lot and learned from those experiences. And
Do you remember I hate to call it a sales pitch, but do you remember when you get that person that just shows up at the door and is like, yeah, I'm interested in taking this rolling around stuff. And do you remember sort of your sales pitch you would give the person? Not that
I would
it's a
always ask
pitch,
them
but
I would always ask them what their goals were because
good,
different people had
nice.
different goals. We would have young guys come in and they got it in their mind that they wanted to do an MMA fight. So
Right.
then, so
They want their
their
black belt in
goals,
UFC.
yeah, exactly. And their goals would be different than, you know, somebody who is like a dad and has three kids at home and is probably only going to make it out once or maybe twice a week.
Yeah,
And versus a young lady, a young woman who's going to university here and wants to meet new people and try something new. They all have different goals. So I think
yeah,
I would probably give them the spiel that made sense for them.
right.
But I think one of the big things everybody should always know about jiu-jitsu is that it has some real life self-defense applications. So
Absolutely.
that's one of the benefits. So
Yes.
yeah.
Now, of course, running a school, and again, this could be a whole podcast too, so I won't make it as a whole podcast, but did you run into those students where you had to say, excuse me, this school is not for you?
Oh yeah, I
Yeah.
did.
Okay.
Yeah,
And you
I
don't
did.
have to give any names or anything, but I don't know if I've ran into that situation too, running a school, and
Well,
it's
I can give a
unfortunate.
story. I can give a story that doesn't actually have any names because I don't know
Perfect.
them.
Yeah,
Uh,
this is what it's all about.
but I remember one time, so I have some amazing teammates who are, we've come up through the ranks together and who coached alongside with me. So I remember once another gentleman who was I would have been a black belt at the time. He would have been a purple or brown belt at the time. Um, Rank doesn't really matter, except that I was running the school. So
Yeah.
I did have the answers these people were looking for. But these two young men, they couldn't have been more than 20 or 21, and they came in inquiring about jujitsu, and I was starting to give them some some uh, some information because they wanted to be an MMA fighter, and they asked, "Well, I want to go talk to that guy over there." And there was the other gentleman, the other coach over there, closer to the mats. And I said, "Well, you can, but he's going to send you back to me." And sure enough, they went over and they're like, "Well, we think it's a better if we go talk to that guy." And he sent them right back over. And they said to me, they're like, "If it's run by a woman, I don't think it's the place for us." So I was like, "That's fine. You are going to
Yeah.
learn the same techniques from having a female coach, a woman coach, as you are from a male coach. And size size can be a factor. Like a lot of my counterparts at the club, the other coaches, they're bigger humans, so they teach differently than I do. But
Sure.
I will never forget that day because I was like, that's the kind of people we don't need here.
Exactly, exactly. Yeah, we've had a few of those come through Bushido Kai and back, especially when Courtney Pratt was running a lot of the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu programs and stuff.
Yeah.
People would come see me the next day and go, Ray, why is she teaching? It's because she knows what she's doing.
You know what I
So
mean?
if you don't want to train in her class, you can leave. And people did leave, and that's okay. I was glad they weren't there.
I think
So
that is I mean, you will find that in everything, everywhere around the world, but it is
exactly.
less and less as the years go by, and people, it's
Yes.
not really a factor anymore.
Right. Right. Now, did you have a children's program as well? You said that was one of your favorite things to run.
Absolutely. Yeah, we had a great, there's still an amazing kids program there. I still teach the teen classes, so we do the club synergy is the club.
Okay.
And it does have a mini program for like the little wee ones, and then a kids program and a teen program. I still coach the teens. I still love that group of kids. They're phenomenal. I still love
It's funny teaching teens because I do as well now, and just the things they say, it's like, wow.
they're not quite kids, but they're not quite adults either. There's something, their own, they need their own brand of coaching. So I
Yeah.
really enjoy that. They don't want to admit that they like games, but they still very much like
You know,
games.
that is so true. We tried one. I said, okay, guys, we're going to do this particular game that we normally do with our kids class, but it's summer, so we stop our kids program. But I gotta test it out in this class to see
Yeah,
how it works. And they're like, oh, come on, Ray, you know. Anyway, they loved it.
love
And
it.
even
Yeah.
though it was for little kids, but
Well,
yeah,
if you want to know the truth, I do games sometimes in the adult classes. I don't think anybody's too old for games.
no, that's
Keep
true.
life fun.
It does. That is very true. That is very true. And now,
Yeah.
your teens that you're mostly teaching, do
hmm
you do they compete or not that I don't want to use the term force competition. I mean, as in, do you recommend it or it's whatever they want?
It's whatever they want. I don't push it on anybody. We do have some youth, some of the teens do compete. It's such a like a personal thing. Some people really don't want that pressure. So I would
Right.
never encourage them to do it if they don't want to. But if they do, I will make sure they're ready for sure.
Sure. Yeah, because we never talked about, of course, you used to compete as well.
I did.
You had a big competition thing. I mean, how did you find that now, especially being was just something you enjoyed doing or you
I
love the
did.
challenge?
I did, and I very much like competing. But again, there's stages to your jiu-jitsu. There's
Right.
phases you go through, and I went through a phase where I loved competing, but then I went through a phase where I thought I should still be competing, even though I didn't have the passion to do it anymore.
Right.
And those years weren't great, to be honest. And I
Sure.
think that's an important lesson, like for people, like you don't have to compete. And if you did compete at one point and you loved it, and you're finding it no longer brings you joy or satisfaction, or you're not even enjoying the experience, don't do it.
Great
There's nothing that
advice.
says you have to. So I do want to compete again. I have kind of found that drive again, which I may do. I'd be in
Right.
like Masters 20, but Masters
Is
4, I think. Masters
is
4.
there a particular competition that you remember the most, like your favorite perhaps, or
Oh, no, I had a lot of really good ones that were super fun. The last one I did was a local tournament, and it was a small division. It was just myself and Madeline Hughes and Haley McDonald, or Beaton, I guess she goes by now.
yes, oh yeah, I know I don't know them, but I know the names.
Yeah,
Yes, yes.
amazing women. And it
Awesome.
was just the three of us. And I went in nervous and feeling underprepared and just not having the drive for it. So of course
Okay.
I didn't do very well, but that was, I love those women and so it was no big deal.
Yeah, well, it's part of their
That one's
journey too.
memorable. I had some good ones in Brazil that I will always love and cherish
Wow.
as good memories. Um,
That's amazing because very few. Now we do have a couple here in Atlantic, Canada that are, we have one lady from Brazil and she travels quite extensively competing and stuff. But to compete in Brazil, I mean, that must have been, there must have been a lot of pressure.
There was a lot of pressure. I was a blue belt at the time though, and I
Okay,
felt I was probably in over my head and didn't know. I was kind
right.
of oblivious to what was going on. Um, but again, the times have changed so much that uh,
Yeah.
blue belts competing now is they pull off moves that I would be scared to roll with those women.
Yeah. Well, and it's
Kidding,
just
but
developed so much. And,
yeah,
at one time, like back in your time there, I mean that respectively, there was only there wasn't a lot of blue belts around, you know.
yeah.
So, I mean, just to see now how much it's grown and just you go to now we have Valor is a tournament that's used to be
Mhm.
Submission Series Atlantic, but they changed their name and now they're
Yep.
Valor. And I think they had well over 300 competitors, close to maybe 400. I'm not 100% sure. Sorry, folks, if I get this wrong. But just how tournaments have blown up so much, and we have so many, and now New Brunswick has quite a few as well.
Yep, we do. We have East Coast Grappling. We have Rogue Grappling. There's probably some others, but those
Sure,
would be the main ones. It is impressive, especially it's impressive to watch the women's divisions. It's impressive to watch all of them,
sure.
but just to see like how exciting all of that is. But the women's divisions at these tournaments, it's pretty fun to watch.
It is amazing. And
As a
there's so
ref, I do
many.
love that. As you know, being able to have an up close personal uh, front row seat, I guess.
Now, when you go to these tournaments, you're obviously coaching a lot of your students.
Coaching, I do ref a lot here in New Brunswick.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Um, haven't in about a year probably, just other things, focusing on other things. But yeah, I like to
Sure.
go as support the crew or go as a ref.
Now, here's a question. New
Sure.
Brunswick has a BJJ commission, or like Nova Scotia BJJ.
Yes.
Is that
Uh,
correct? Which is, it's
BJJ
unheard of,
Elite.
and I think it's awesome. I don't know if you know much about that or if you're part of it or.
I have been part of it. Yeah, I had some time on that board. And it's kind of what we need here. The way the laws work in the
Okay.
province. So we kind of need that as part of
Yeah, for
the
sport, like
process.
sport governing body
The
or
governing body, yeah, to
yeah.
have that governing body in place so that we can host the tournaments is a key
Uh,
piece. So I I haven't been to a meeting in a year or more, but
that's okay. I'm just very fascinated by it because there's no I remember talking to Jonathan Kelly and he was saying that they weren't part of any bigger organization where normally like Judo Nova Scotia or Karate Nova Scotia or say Karate New Brunswick, you got to be part of a larger association. But somehow they worked it out that they didn't have to be, which was
that is the problem. We do, yeah, so we have that provincial governing body, a provincial association, but there is no national governing body for
right.
jiu-jitsu in Canada. So that does limit like the funding that is available to that organization. If
Okay,
there was a
interesting.
larger governing body, then they'd be eligible for some funding and
Right.
so I don't know if that's something that's going to be like people in Canada will look at someday. But I think jujitsu does have like there's so many different rule sets and like there's no real I don't know how it works in other martial arts, but it's really there's no real uniform
Right.
set of rules. I mean, a
Well,
lot of
just judo. Judo has one set of rules, and that's it. So judo
right,
across the world's the same. That's why they're so established.
right, and that's good. That would be something that would be good for
Yeah.
jujitsu. But then people are also establishing you know, jujitsu for entertainment, and which has you can kind of you because there's no governing body, you can use whatever rule set you see fit.
Yep.
And jujitsu for entertainment, I mean, I love that. I think I think that part's great.
Yeah. We have something here going on. Great East Coast Fight Series. I don't know
Okay.
if you see it online, but they're based in Amherst.
Hmm.
And they're just going wild with this. Like they're mixing it up with like WWE style wrestling. And so they
Okay.
have in a cage or in a ring, they have good submission grappling matches, but they also have wrestling matches and they want everything to be entertaining. But yet they're really good matches, like good quality practitioners are actually going right at it, giving it 100%. But
Right.
they make a really good entertainment value out of it. And there's another one that just started up, Iron Grappling. They're trying to do events inside a bar, like the Oasis Bar downtown and
Hmm.
stuff like that. So just, when I think back, like say to the Abaya Invitational,
Yes.
and sorry if I can't remember other ones, but I think Fit Plus probably put on a couple tournaments. Uh,
Yeah, Marmac and Trope run.
Marmac, of course, yes, there's another legendary club.
Yeah.
And but now, even in Nova Scotia, I think we have like 8 or 9 grappling promotions.
Hmm.
I'm sure in New Brunswick it's the same, right?
Yeah, and that just goes back to, the evolution of it and how much it's changed. Even over a decade, it's changed that much. And it's interesting to see where it's going to go. Like nobody knows with the rate of change with the internet and everything. We could have anything happening.
Exactly. Now you said that you're doing more no gi now as opposed to gi. So you train mostly all gi your whole career, correct? Or
I
a little
did.
bit?
I did mostly gi for
Yeah.
quite a time, but I have arthritis in my hands,
Yeah.
so it just the gi hurts. It just literally
Okay.
hurts my hands. So the grips are a bit much. But no gi, I found was the loophole for me that
Interesting.
I can still train quite a bit and roll hard without it hurting my hands.
Right.
It does mean that it's changed things a lot, and when I roll with women who are stronger in the gi, I do feel, black belt women, I feel a little lost, but
Right.
because the game evolves so fast, and I kind of got left behind, but that's okay. I still love the gi. I still roll in the gi when I can,
Yeah.
and um, but
So
I'm
when you're
thankful.
teaching mostly no gi
I
stuff?
teach no gi. Yeah,
Oh, wonderful.
I teach a couple classes, adult classes, and the teen class, and the teen class is in the gi, but the
Right.
others are no gi, and that's been my focus. But that goes like I would say that to everybody. Everybody's going to have stages through in their lives and their jujitsu when they're training that they're going to lean more towards one or more towards something else,
Right.
and that's okay. Never say never. Like I remember saying I didn't ever want to train no gi, and here I am.
Yeah.
Like if you had told me that 15 years ago, I wouldn't have believed it, but.
What's your kind of favorite go-to moves as far as the no gi that you like?
Go-to moves?
Yeah, things that you're maybe you enjoy doing them. Like, oh, I get that certain move, and just I like that move.
I like I like I like legs. I like leg
Yeah,
locks. Yeah, I'm a big fan of leg locks. It transitions so fast and people are so good at countering your leg lock and with their own
right.
attack. So I really enjoy that. I find that fascinating.
And I was going to say, you already mentioned the arthritis in your hands, but is that your biggest injury, sort of, from jiu-jitsu, or did you have?
Unfortunately, no.
Oh, okay. Are you
No,
comfortable talking about your?
everybody gets injured in jiu-jitsu. Everybody.
Yeah,
You just gotta wait when your time is up.
it'll happen
Um,
eventually.
Yeah, I've had a broken wrist with a couple surgeries on it. I've had
Oh,
sprained MCLs. Yeah,
right.
that's about it. Those are the worst, sprained MCLs and a broken arm. I
Yeah.
have I have a woman in my life that is she's one of my training partners, but she's also a source of inspiration for me because she's a smaller gal like myself and she's broken bones and comes back with just as much enthusiasm
Uh,
as ever. So
wow,
she's
that's
a
awesome.
she's a rock star.
Right. So do you follow any of the people online? Like people especially who are like, I pronounce her name wrong, but Helena Cravar, I think I
Yeah,
pronounced her name wrong.
I follow her a little bit. I like Fionn Davies,
Yeah. She was
and
supposed to come to Halifax, but she
she
didn't,
was. Yeah, I think that was. I think there was
but
some
I
scheduling.
don't think it worked out. So I don't know what the
That.
deal was, but
Yeah, I love watching the Brianna St. Marie. Oh my goodness, she's a rock star too. That one. So yeah, there's a lot of women I like to follow as well. But
right.
then again, I just get really inspired by the women around me. So I'm a pretty lucky gal, I have to say.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you've been in it since, the evolution of it in the maritime. So it's you've seen it start off small and grow so huge.
Yep.
What about all these other tournaments that are like, the big ones? Obviously not so much maybe ADCC anymore, but drawing a blank here.
Like Worlds and the big.
Yeah, the big no-gi ones. Oh my God,
Oh, the
everyone's
big
gonna kill
Nogi
me.
ones. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh my God, I'm just drawing. It's funny. I'll tell you a quick. My main injury through jiu-jitsu is I got choked and I had a stroke.
oh
And
my.
yeah, yeah.
That's
It's
kind of a
actually
major
it was
one.
this month. I'm celebrating my whole year. Yeah. Anyway, it's a
Oh
long
wow.
story, but in training, anyway, we were practicing. I got choked, had a stroke. The doctor's like, we don't know if that's what caused it, but that's when it happened.
That's when it
Anyway,
happened.
so
Oh,
I
wow.
was in the hospital for a week, off work for a month, and anyway, I've recovered. But I find now my brain when it goes because I have ADHD too
So
as
do you still
well.
train? Do you train
Oh yeah, I
now?
train all the time and I teach all the
Okay.
time.
Well,
But when
that is
I
a cool story that you came back from that. That's not an easy. That'd be enough for some people to call it quits,
Yeah,
probably.
well, I find if I'm starting to think too fast, like even right now doing this, I'm trying to
Hmm.
come up with some nice questions because I don't really plan anything, but my head gets going a little faster than what it
Right.
should. So my words get a little bit mixed up, and that's one of the things because of it. But anyway, now when I'm in class, especially if I'm doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and stuff like that, when I roll with everybody. But when someone gets me by the neck, I just tap right away.
Okay.
I just, okay, guys, like what do they
Yep, that's
say?
fair.
Man, Ray, you tap so quick. And I'm like, man, I don't want to get choked anymore. Or,
But
so,
that's like it's people get they're hard on themselves, I think, when they think their training has to change. It does have to change over time. It's inevitable, but that just like being able to build in ways to keep yourself on the mats. There's nothing wrong with that.
oh,
Being
yeah,
able,
exactly.
I've changed my rolling significantly over the years. Everybody who's training, if they plan to continue, they will find that their rolling changes, and
Yeah.
that's okay.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And like, it's like I go to Halifax BJJ sometimes. And if there's people there and they're like, hey, that's Ray, the gray haired guy. Come on, man. And I'm like, man, you're like 270-pound bodybuilder. Just, we can
Yeah,
roll, but just don't grab me by the neck.
right.
It's
Better than that.
Yeah. So now it's just slow and steady, no agenda.
Mhm.
That's how it
Yeah.
is. So,
That's fair.
yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that.
So when did you decide? And I know you're still thinking about maybe doing another competition and so, but when did you
Hmm.
decide to say, okay, I've had enough?
Competing?
Yeah. Like I know you're thinking about it again, or have you
I am thinking
retired?
about it again, and I do want to. I will plan to compete maybe this time next year. Um, I I did well with competition at like my earlier days,
Yeah.
white belt, blue belt, a little bit of purple belt. And then I lost, I think what it was is I had an injury and I just kind of lost my motivation for it. And I
Right.
think I spent a couple years being like, well, I'll just go into the competition without actually training for it. But you know what's going to happen when you do that. You already know the outcome. You didn't train for it, you're not going to do well. You can't
Right.
be upset with yourself for not doing well when you didn't really plan for it or work for it. So that's a good lesson to, if it's actually something I want to do, then I better put the effort in.
Nice.
So I'm no plans to compete for sure until I have the time to actually dedicate to it.
Right. And right now you say you're at the club or you're training, like you said, I think 3 times, 4 times a week.
3 to 4 times a week. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I will probably, I have it in my, I have room to move with that to train a little harder, but I'm also enjoying life. I love life and I love everything that it throws at you. So
Yeah.
I don't want to give up any of the other fun stuff I have going on. So I'm just not quite ready yet, but I will probably, yeah, this time next year, like I said. I do think everybody should try competing,
Sure.
even just once.
Yeah.
I wouldn't, like I said, I wouldn't push it on kids, but adults, you kind of need to experience that just to see what it's like. It is not for everybody, but
So
it's a good
when you
experience to have.
when you're at class or when you're at your training and stuff, and you meet that say younger person that's even could be 20, 21 years old, and they're like, that's all I do now. And this could be a male or female, but Jiu-jitsu is my life. I'm going to train every day, 8 hours, and I'm going to learn how to speak Portuguese, and I'm going to, go to Brazil, and I'm obsessed with it. Are you like, yeah, you'll do that for like probably a year or two, and then you'll mellow out a bit.
They mellow themselves out.
Yeah,
They
it's true.
don't, nobody needs to give them any sort of speech. They take care of I mean, first of all, if they're bound to get hurt if they're just going at it that hard, but
Right.
they'll figure it out.
Yeah.
People, people have a lot of wisdom inside of them, and whether they can recognize that or not, they will eventually figure that out on their own.
Nice, nice. Well, I have a couple more questions before we wrap it up. Couple
Yeah.
fun ones, I guess. I'll try to
Okay.
remember them all in order. I'll try to remember them all. Yes. Uh, oh, there's a good one. When you traveled around for tournaments and stuff,
Hmm.
what's your worst tournament food you ever ate?
Worst tournament food I ever
Yeah,
ate.
like did you eat like four hot dogs and a hamburger and a shake and then go grapple?
No, no, I tend to eat well.
Okay,
So,
good for you.
never, in Brazil, they had these fantastic, it's not bad. They're actually really delicious. They're like Pop Tarts, but they're not. They have like cheese and meat inside of them. They're like fried pastries with goodies in there. I like those. Those were delicious.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
those are
of
some
course, we
good.
know I asked you gi or no gi. What's your favorite now? But you've already said it's
We know, yeah, I'm a no-gi. I wouldn't say I still love the gi so much. It
okay.
is I love collar chokes. I love the control. It's just not it doesn't love me as much.
Do you have a favorite submission
In the gi?
in the gi or no gi? Your
In
choice.
the gi? In the gi, I love bow and arrow choke.
Nice.
Yeah. No gi, like any sort of leg lock.
Any leg. Awesome. Do you have a favorite sweep?
Favorite sweep, sickle sweep. I
Oh
love
yeah.
sickle sweep. Yeah.
Yeah.
You
You
can
know,
hit those. You might learn it on your first day, but you can still use it
you can
decades
use that
later.
thing all the time because a couple months ago we were teaching it at the club I'm at, sickle sweep, and then I went to Halifax BJJ and I rolled with a gentleman named Josh Whalen,
Yeah,
who's
I
one
know
of the
Josh, yeah,
co-owners. Yeah, and he got me four times in a row with the exact same sweep.
right?
And every time I was like, "Oh my God, he just got me with that a few minutes ago." It was,
That's why I love it.
yeah,
You
yeah,
might know it's coming, and you still get swept.
yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, your most embarrassing moment on the mats.
On
Did
the
you have
mats.
one? Yeah, like do something like, oh, why did I do that move? Or, you know,
No, but I do remember, not on the mats, but my one of my first competitions, my first big competition in Brazil, and I was a big fan of Hillary Williams. She was a female grappler at the time, doing very well. She was a black belt. I just thought she was the best. She was amazing. And I went to the change room to get ready for my first match, and she was a ref at that tournament, and she was all decked out in her official IBJJF ref's attire. And I turned around and I said, "You're Hillary Williams. I have no pants on." That's all I could say to her. My big moment, my awestruck moment, and that's all I could think to say to her.
there you go. Oh, that's good though. I'm sure she would
She was a
appreciate
sweetheart.
that too.
She
Yeah.
laughed. She thought it was funny too. So we had a good chuckle over that.
If you could roll with anybody in history, past or present, who would it be?
Past or present, who would I?
Yeah. Yeah. If you're like, I wish I could roll with that person.
Oh my
I
heavens.
know.
A real person or a
Yeah, no,
fictional?
it can be anybody you want. It could be anybody.
Anybody?
Anybody.
Oh my goodness, that's a tough question.
Okay. Or we
Anybody
could
that
say
I
competition wise, let's say from
from the jiu-jitsu world,
today's jujitsu world.
I want to roll with Fionn Davis for sure.
There you go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would love to roll with her. Um, but throughout history, that's a
That's
wild.
okay. It's a crazy question. That's all. Which goes into my next question. Give me your top two or three or even four martial artists that inspire you or that you look up to.
That I look up to.
Yeah, or it can be anybody in the martial arts.
I don't know. I admittedly I don't know a whole lot of people in the outside of jiu-jitsu, so I'll
That's
have to be
fine.
all jiu-jitsu or the jiu-jitsu world. Um, Lachlan Giles is who I get a lot of my um uh he's far away, but I consider him one of my coaches because I watch
Yep.
so many of his videos. So I really admire him. And some of the people in my own circles, I would have to say some of these women are amazing. Madeline Hughes, I look up to her and she inspires me and I'd like to train with her as much as I can. Um, and who else inspires me? Brianna St. Marie, I think she's a wonderful Canadian that's gone far and really. shown the world what she's capable of.
Nice.
And you know who was maybe not so much in the scene as much anymore, but I always really admired was Emily Kwok. She was
Oh yeah.
and she's I
First
trained with her a
Canadian
couple.
female Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt.
Was she
Yes, she was the first Canadian
Canadian? Well, I
female
did not know
Brazilian
that, and
Jiu-Jitsu
now
black
she's
belt.
even more more
Yeah.
inspiring. But I just thought she was had an interesting fresh take on stuff, and I think Halifax BJJ brought her in a couple times, and
Yeah.
so
Bushido
I got
Kai, we brought her here before too.
oh cool, that's
Yeah,
really
we
neat.
brought her first. No offense to anybody,
Okay,
but me
okay.
and
So
Courtney
I
brought
think
her here the first time.
I just loved who she was as a person.
Yeah, she was amazing.
Yeah. So yeah, those would be my crew.
Well, that's good
Whether I
because
know them or personally or not,
that's
I still
okay.
consider them my crew.
Because, I mean, hey, she was the first Canadian Brazilian
Yeah.
Jiu-Jitsu black belt, and and you were the first Atlantic Canadian Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt for ladies. So,
Okay.
I mean, that's
There
just
were
awesome.
there were
It,
three of us there. I feel like we were all linking arms, like we were all in it together, me and Courtney and
of
Sally.
course.
We were all very close and
Oh yeah, no, no, I know, and I don't. I'm not. I have to definitely give credit to everyone that came. That's been
absolutely credit
around
to
for
all.
sure,
Yeah.
and I just love history, and I know that I can go to any club here in the city now and talk to like I'm not, I'm not going to offend anybody, but I'll talk to a blue belt, maybe purple belt, even some brown belts, and they're not aware of a lot of the history of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu in
Yeah.
Atlantic
In
Canada.
the area. Yeah.
And I'm a huge history buff, and I really want all martial arts, but especially now that I've been doing legitimately to be doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for the last 4 or 5 years. I had it at my club for years, but I was always training other martial arts, so I didn't have time to
Hmm.
invest. But now I do over
Fair.
4 years. So I just want people to know the history, and that's kind of why I do this podcast. Even if I don't get a lot of people watching it, that's okay. I'm mostly doing it to keep the history going.
No, I love that.
I think it's really important.
Do things for yourself. That's the best way to do it. Do it for yourself and the people will come.
There you go. Your signature closing question or anything you want to add at the end here. And, you know, here's one for any of the ladies that are coming up, thinking about joining Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, want to get into it, or that are into it now. Maybe a word of advice or something that you like, watch out for this or do that or whatever. Any word of advice.
Words of advice are just the things that I've heard other people say throughout the years, which is like, don't give up because it's a discouraging sport by times. So don't give up. It's going to be challenging. That's part of why it's so worthwhile. And the other thing is don't use your voice. Don't be afraid to say no if you're not comfortable rolling with somebody or even drilling with somebody. You don't have to. So just use your voice. Say no if and when you feel you need to. Those
Right.
would be my words.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay. Well, hey, I appreciate all your time. And what happened is I'll do my little closing speech, which is
Okay.
quick. I'll click
Sounds good.
off and then I'll chat with you for a minute. But thank you again. This is just great. And you know me, I'll be sharing this like crazy and it's on Spotify. And I mean, it was awesome. Everything you said was so good. And I'm sure you'll think of lots of things after that. Oh, I wish I would have said that, but it's okay. It's all good.
It's all good. Yeah, I appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, guys, it's Ray, the gray-haired guy in the gi, and I'm officially signing off. And now I have to look through my glasses like this. Here we go. Stop.